Most black markets are built on danger, drugs, weapons, stolen goods. But the most fascinating black market in history wasn't dangerous at all. It wasn't illegal because it harmed people. It was illegal because it threatened butter. This is the story of the margarine black market, a forgotten economic war that proves one thing: you can outlaw a product, but you can't outlaw human behaviour. In the early 1900s, margarine was the new kid on the block. Cheap, shelf-stable, easy to produce, and it tasted close enough to butter that millions of working-class families switched overnight. The dairy industry panicked, so they lobbied the US government to protect butter at all costs. And Congress responded with one of the strangest laws ever passed: margarine could not be yellow. If it looked like butter, it was taxed like a luxury item. In some states, selling yellow margarine was outright illegal. The goal was simple: make margarine so inconvenient that people would crawl back to butter. But that's not what happened. Manufacturers found a workaround. They sold margarine as a white brick. And inside every box they hid a tiny packet of yellow dye. Families would take it home, gather around the kitchen table and knead the dye into the margarine by hand. Kids loved it, parents tolerated it, and the dairy industry hated it. It became a secret ritual in millions of households, a quiet rebellion against a law that made no sense. The government tried to crack down. They raided factories, they fined stores, they seized shipments of illegal yellow, but the more they pushed, the bigger the underground market grew. Here's where it gets wild. The ban didn't kill margarine, it made it more profitable. Margarine was cheaper to produce. Demand skyrocketed. The tax created a massive price gap, and the illegal yellow version became a household staple. By the 1940s, margarine was outselling butter in many states, despite being restricted, taxed, and technically illegal to colour. The dairy industry had accidentally created its own competition. This is the part economists still teach today. When you restrict something people want, you don't eliminate demand, you just hand the profits to someone else. This wasn't a story about crime, it was a story about dignity. Families struggling through the Great Depression and World War II couldn't afford butter. They weren't breaking the law to be rebellious, they were breaking the law to feed their kids. Imagine being told the cheaper food your family relies on is illegal, not because it's unsafe, but because it threatens someone else's profits. That's why the margarine black market exploded. It wasn't about taste, it wasn't about convenience, it was about survival. By the time the laws were repealed in the 1950s, it was too late. The underground market had become the real market. People had already chosen margarine. The dairy industry lost the war they started, and the government learned a lesson it keeps forgetting. You can't regulate your way out of human behaviour. You can only push it underground. The margarine black market is one of the strangest stories in economic history. A reminder that black markets don't always grow from danger. Sometimes they grow from bad policy, stubborn demand, and a product people simply refuse to give up. And that's why this story still matters today, because every time a government bans something people want, the market doesn't disappear. It adapts, it evolves, and it always finds a way.